Hello everyone, Squee here, and welcome to the aftermath of the Fallout 3 roleplay. So, either earlier today or yesterday, depending on when this is released, I released the last episode of Fallout 3 Sean Flynn's story. Woo! I'm very happy with how everything turned out. It was my first person role play, and it was quite a challenge, and I'm very glad that I got through it. I know there was that big pause in the middle or towards the end, but I managed to get it done. I'm very happy I was able to do so despite all the crashes, the enormous amount of crashes that you will never have to see or deal with. But I got through it, and this video is kind of a chance for me to reflect on my thoughts of the roleplay, and for you to reflect on your thoughts of it. I plan on doing a Fallout 4 roleplay starting in a few days. I'm working on the opening right now, and this is a chance for you to get some input in there. Tell me things that you liked about the Fallout 3 roleplay, or things that you felt needed improvement, things that you don't want to see continued, or things that you would like to see continued. Things like that. So, from my perspective, this was really fun and yet really emotionally draining at the same time, and in a good way. Now, it's nothing that I'm not familiar with. Whenever you do acting, for example, stage acting, and you really get into a character, it can be incredibly emotionally draining for you, especially if that character goes through hard times. Because the closer you connect with the character, the more you empathize with the character, the more you feel what the character's feeling. And the more you feel what the character's feeling and translate that, the more the audience feels what the character's feeling. And that's the whole point. And that's really what I was hoping to do with Sean. Which means that the last few hours, especially, were really brutal. For me, it was really hard to role play. Okay, I'm gonna spoilers. If you have not seen the end of Fallout 3 roleplay, do not continue listening to this. Okay, but playing the slow descent to death for Sean was actually very challenging and emotionally draining. Now, I'm glad that I did it. I think that it fit the story really well and fit Sean's character to give him such a heroic end. The idea that, despite all the odds and despite, all the, his body breaking down on him, he still got the mission done and did what he always wanted to do, which was be a soldier and save lives and be a big goddamn hero. But it was, I did not expect it to be this invested for me. I really did feel what Sean was going through when, like, for example, when he put the slave collar on Arkansas's neck. One of my favorite moments of the Let's Play. It was really difficult for Sean to do it. He had a crisis of morality there, and I kind of felt it. But on the other hand, that, I hope, translated really well. So the emotional draining aspect of it allows me to connect with the character in a way I never could from a third person perspective, and I enjoyed that, and hopefully you guys did too. But there are a few things that I realize that are really difficult to do from a first person perspective, especially when you are maintaining that perspective for a 40 plus hour Let's Play. One of those is what to talk about. Oh man, there were a lot of walks to and fro, that was just Sean. There was no one else there. It was Sean and his sniper rifle, and the inner monologue was a real challenge. It was difficult because he has no one to play off of. He has nothing to do but talk to himself about himself, and I found that to be a challenge sometimes. There were moments where I just kind of wanted to be silent for 10 minutes because he had nothing to think about. I couldn't think of what to say. And of course you can't. That's not good for a Let's Play. So I muddled through. But I'm sure it was probably apparent there were times when I was struggling to find out what to say. Because from a person's standpoint, you don't always think. You don't always have an inner monologue going on. There can be minutes or hours at a time where you don't really talk to yourself. But like I said, for a Let's Play, that's no bueno. So I'm thinking about ways of kind of fixing this in Fallout 4, and I have some ideas that I don't want to get into, but it's definitely a challenge that I'm going to have to try and overcome for any future role plays. Another thing is, I realized I had a tendency to say, all right, okay, a lot as Sean. Now, and that was just kind of Sean's mannerisms, and that's fine. The thing that's going to be a challenge, I think, in the future is a different character. Sean, um, in some ways, Sean wasn't too hard to play because Sean had a lot of my mannerisms. But any future characters, like my character for Fallout 4, is going to have different mannerisms, and I'm going to have to maintain those mannerisms, and it's going to be more difficult. In other words, my character in Fallout 4 is not going to be the kind of guy that sits there in the middle of a firefight and goes, all right, okay, let's do this. Like that because then I mean, what's the point of playing a different character? So I do know that's going to be challenging, finding a new personality to play as. Other things that were challenging, custom story was really challenging because I was limited within the confines of the game. Most of my custom story had to be told through cutscenes, and that's actually something I'd really like feedback on. Did you guys enjoy the cutscenes? Did they take away from the experience? Did they add to the experience? Because there are different ways you could do it. You know, I could have just played the game without any custom cutscenes that gave you thoughts into Sean's mind, or the romance between, as short as it was, between Sean and Sarah. You know, I could have just left all that out and just gone through the game. But I don't think that would have made as good a story. I don't think it would have made it as unique as it did. And I felt the cutscenes were kind of necessary. But I'd like to hear your thoughts. Maybe there's better ways to do the cutscenes. Maybe there's other ways to do it, and I can look into it. But I like adding things like, for example, the Sarah romance. I like adding that in there. It made sense to me. Now, yes, it was really fast. It was. Part of me, I intended them to have more time together, but because of the constant crashing and the instability of the game, I just had to kind of push through to the end. Um, but still, the way I looked at it was that, you know, the kind of lives they lead and the world they live in, you don't have time nor the energy for long drawn out romance. You know what I mean? So it kind of makes sense in a weird way. But yeah, so those are some of the things I found that were challenging. Some of the things that I found that were really fun. And I want you guys to give me feedback. What did you really enjoy? What did you didn't? Was there something you didn't like about Sean as a character that actually made the LP less fun for you? Obviously, like there might be a trait you didn't like in Sean, but hey, that made a better character. I mean, like something I did as Sean or said as Sean that just wasn't fun or hurt the the role play or a way I talked or anything really. This is a good place to put feedback so that I can take that into Fallout 4 and hopefully do better for it. If you have any questions at all, I will try and answer them. I know that there's going to be a question of like, you know, what was that thing at the end of the video, and is that gonna be the Fallout 4? And I'm just gonna say, I will tell you this. Obviously, Sean is not the protagonist of Fallout 4, because you know, kind of died. Kind of important. But I do like to think that the worlds are connected. Um, and that the events and actions that took place in Fallout 3 could have some sort of impact on Fallout 4. Might not be that big. It might be a little bigger. I'm intentionally being vague here, but there will be certainly references in some way, shape, or form or size to what happened in Fallout 3 and how that's affected things. But Sean's story, you know, as a main protagonist is very much over. So there's that. But any other questions that you have, let me know and I will I'll answer them as best I can. Again, thank you guys for this. This was a very awkward thing for me to try. It's always that bit of am I making a fool out of myself by acting like a fool on the YouTubes, that it's sometimes difficult to put yourself out there like that, and your encouragement and views and comments made it, it's all the difference in the world between looking like a fool and feeling like you gave a good performance, that difference is entirely based upon your reaction, you, the viewers. If your reaction is negative, then I'm just some fool playing around on YouTube's. If your reactions are that of, I really loved this story, it was great, it was emotionally capturing, that means that I wasn't just acting a fool on YouTube, I was giving a performance. And it's a small thing definitionally, but it's everything when it comes to me. So again, thank you guys so much, and I look forward to Fallout 4. I'm so excited for it that, like I said, it should be starting in a few days. So look forward to it. And yeah, I think I have found some pretty fun things to go with it. So anyway, I'll see you guys there. All right, bye bye.